What's up everyone? Today we're making
番茄炒蛋
tomato and eggs, a classic Chinese scrambled egg dish that is super quick, easy to make, and only requires two main ingredients. Thanks to Misin for sponsoring this video. More on them later, but we'll start with my dad's special technique to peel a tomato.
番茄搣皮其實好簡單嘅啫，教個大家俾個方法啦，俾大家聽下。一個番茄就喺中間咁，一個十字。
With the sharp knife, we'll score an X on the bottom of the tomato and continue the scoring to the top of the tomato.
擺喺度，用滾水，係煲滾嘅滾水，係滾嘅，倒佢落嚟。就佢。
Paul from Patreon asks, do you recommend peeled or unpeeled tomatoes?
如果你想攞多啲汁嘅咧，你就剝咗皮佢，佢就容易煮爛啲。 如果你嚟連皮咧，佢就唔會咁容易煮到爛晒。離開皮咧，係嘛？
After 30 seconds in the piping hot water, we'll take out the tomato and we'll be able to peel back the skin easily with a knife.
就係咁啦。係嘛？就係咁簡單。嗱，咁完全斷皮，去咗皮啦。
For the rest of the tomatoes, we'll leave them unpeeled, but that's up to your preference. Feel free to peel all of them or none of them.
好啦，我而家咧就開始切番茄咯。呢度硬嘅唔好要。
After cutting off the hard parts, we'll slice the tomato into wedges. Notice how my dad is cutting the tomato wedges at an angle. This is because he wants to prevent the juicier core from separating from the fleshier exterior of the tomato. If you cut straight along the core, like how we typically cut orange slices, the tomatoes are more likely to fall apart. I also wanted to make a special shout out to thank all of our wonderful Patreon supporters for helping bring this video to life. If you enjoy our videos and are interested in supporting us directly, head on over to patreon.com/madewithlau to learn more. From Winnie and Susan from Patreon, is there a particular type of tomato that's best for this?
揀番茄嘅時候就唔好太熟，又唔好太生。太生嘅時候咧，炒就唔好硬；太熟你炒就會爛晒。
But you know how there's like Roma tomatoes, there's like
Keep going, Randy. What you got?
heirloom tomatoes, there's like different types of tomatoes. Is there one he looks for?
咁冇乜所謂啦，番茄都係咁上下。
我話最好咧就係中等大嘅番茄 ，not too small, not too
Medium
big。
size. In Cantonese, tomatoes are called fan ke, which literally translates to foreign eggplant. This is a nod to China's confused but curious first impression of tomatoes when they first arrived on the scene a few hundred years ago during the Ming Dynasty. Since then, tomatoes have made their way into different niches of Chinese cuisine, especially in classic dishes like beef and tomato stir fry or my dad's tomato tofu soup.
我平時咧啲番茄嗰啲酸嘢，我落少少薑落去煮嘅。如果你唔中意嘅，就都唔俾咯。我切啲薑絲落去啊，少少得㗎啦。呢個我屋企嘅做法嚟嘅啫，我就煮啲薑番茄，我通常落啲薑絲上去，少少得啦。
After preparing the ginger, we'll move on to our eggs.
用4隻蛋。
Some people ask, what is the general tomato to egg ratio?
冇乜一定嘅呢個就，睇你中意多啲蛋咪俾多啲蛋咯。我呢度就放半番茄俾4隻蛋咯。
即係譬如你中意食tomato 多啲咧，你就可以放多啲。因為有啲人唔係好中意食 tomato 咧，就嫌佢酸咁咧，你就俾多啲蛋就少啲 tomato。呢個可以 according your preference。
蛋咧就要落少少鹽上去，都有啲味，用半個茶匙將啲蛋發揚佢。好啦。 我哋開少少生粉水先啦，1個湯匙嘅生粉，3湯匙嘅水開生粉，4湯匙啫唔緊要，4湯匙呢個就生粉水嚟嘅，啱啱煮嗰時用呵。
We have all of these ingredients listed on our blog at madewithlau.com, along with step-by-step instructions and video clips to guide you as you make the recipe at home.
我而家開始開火，燒紅咗鑊之後咧，燒鑊之後加油就炒蛋啦，炒蛋先㗎啦。
We'll heat our pan until it's hot but not smoking, which was about 1.5 minutes for this carbon steel pan. Carbon steel is one of the primary materials used in cookware, alongside stainless steel, non-stick, and cast iron. Most chefs agree that carbon steel combines the best qualities of these three materials. It's what my dad used 99% of the time in Chinese restaurant kitchens. The carbon steel pan you're seeing now is from Misin. Here are 3 of the many reasons why carbon steel is superior. 1. It's naturally non-stick. Whereas non-stick cookware uses extra chemicals that can degrade with use, with easy seasoning, carbon steel traps microscopic layers of oil to create a natural non-stick coating. 2. It's a great balance of weight and heat distribution. Carbon steel cookware retains and reacts quickly to the changes in heat that are necessary to pull off certain Chinese recipes. It's much lighter and more maneuverable than cast iron and more reactive than stainless steel. 3. It's extremely versatile and durable. With some easy care, carbon steel lasts a lifetime. This specific carbon steel pan for miso can do basically everything: sear, saute, deep fry, or even bake, since you can use it in the oven as well as on gas, electric, and induction stovetops. Long before this partnership came about, we had already been using a variety of Miso's cookware on and off camera, so we highly recommend Miso and their carbon steel pan. If you're interested, click the link in our description and use promo code MADEWITHLAO for 20% off your first order. Again, that's promo code MADEWITHLAO for 20% off your first order.
睇有煙出嚟啫，炒蛋就太熱啦。炒蛋嘅時候落多少少油唔緊要，一個湯匙嘅油上去，啷一啷就和佢，就咁啷下佢。嗱，呢個油出啦，嚇，倒啲蛋上去。
Once the eggs are in the pan, we'll push it around until it's mostly cooked, or about 30 to 40 seconds.
就咁得噶啦，發蛋。係，但係咁推就得噶啦，咁反咁得，係嘛？係嘛？嗱，已經夠熱就鑊啦，
Now we'll put the eggs aside before they overcook.
啲蛋唔使走得好熟嚇，八成熟就得噶啦。
How do you make sure the eggs are really soft and fluffy?
首先咧，你多少少油，你落多少少油去炒，隻鑊咧係咁好似推，好似我哋咁推，等於炒滑蛋咁炒，咁上去就拔起佢。開頭係大火，咁收尾慢火，再落啲油少油上去，唔使開到咁猛火。而家隻鑊已經夠好熱啦。
With the pan still hot and new oil added, we'll drop in our ginger.
啲薑落去。好啦，倒番茄俾上去。呢隻鑊咧就好似由佢內熱，俾咗菜落去炒好耐，佢仲喳聲嗰啲鑊氣仲喺度，睇得嘛？如果你大咗鑊咧，佢冇保持得咁耐嘅鑊氣喺度，知道嘛？佢溫度保持得時間長啲。好啦，我平時煮番茄咧，我要落少少水落去，等佢多啲sauce，多啲汁。
After stir-frying the tomatoes for around 30 seconds, we'll add about 3 tablespoons of water.
好啦，而家咧我少少鹽，大半個茶匙嘅鹽，糖，我喜歡用嗰啲黃色嘅糖，俾2個湯匙。點解啊？呢隻糖咧，我中意佢嘅味道咧，比較溫和啲。
From Leslie, when and how does your dad like to season the dish?
煮番茄炒蛋啊，越簡單係越好。你唔好話又紅油啊，又生抽，俾嗰啲就失勢嗰啲味道去啦。我連蒜頭連葱都唔落，我落啲薑落去。
點解要簡單啊？
簡單咪正式嘅番茄同蛋嘅味道突出嚟咯。俾落去咁耐，佢都仲滾隻鑊啲水。如果你其他嗰啲鑊佢冇一直咁滾住嘅，佢知道嘛？冚鑊過都唔使冚就得啦。俾佢滾住。好啦，而家咧將佢生粉俾佢生粉落去。
After about 2.5 minutes of cooking, we'll start to add our cornstarch slurry.
嗱，我哋慢慢將啲生粉落去。
We'll slowly mix in the slurry, checking the consistency as we go. We don't have to use all of it if it's thick enough already.
呢個芡就差唔多夠結㗎啦。而家咧就將啲蛋俾埋落去咯。
After another 30 seconds of cooking with the slurry added, we'll put in our eggs.
將啲蛋落去咧，俾啲蛋上去咧，將佢撈勻，俾啲蛋索晒啲番茄汁，咁啲蛋就好食啦。
Midori from Patreon asks, how do you prevent this from becoming too watery?
大火你自己，
大火煮。
點解我落啲水落去煮都唔會成盆水嘅？啲蛋就索咁多水㗎嘛。
同埋唔好煮得太耐係嘛？
耐咪越爛咯。
你越耐就越出水。
當然佢唔爛咪冇咁多水咯。基本上就開始生火㗎啦。
After cooking the eggs for 30 seconds, we can turn off the heat.
好啦，加上啲 ketchup 汁落去咧，啲 colour 更加靚啦。
幾多啊
？2個湯匙。咁樣嘅話咧，呢個番茄就好食啦。
How do you prevent the dish from having a raw tomato taste?
For me, when I cook tomato before, I never do like a daddy put ketchup. It's always have like a raw tomato taste. Since daddy cook always put like a little more sugar, put ketchup, I never have that kind of taste anymore. The ketchup can cover the raw taste.
OK，呢個 sauce 咪幾靚咯，係嘛？
After the ketchup is well mixed in, we can plate the dish and hear about my dad's experience with tomato and egg back in China.
紅隊食飯咯
Did you guys have this growing up?
！No，我喺大陸中國嗰時候冇咁多番茄嘅，我哋嗰度啲人好少種番茄嘅。蛋咧基本上就唔係咁容易食蛋嘅仔。你呢度生日又話咩好多嘢，又話 cake 又剩。我細個生日嗰時有隻蛋食就已經好幸福㗎，你知係嘛？番茄炒蛋煮好咗啦，希望大家中意。
Cheers! Thank you, Daddy.
Cheers! YouTube thinks you'll like this recipe next. Let's see if they're right.